The game is over. Clemson beats Virginia 48-31 in a game that was sloppy at times, was exciting at times, and if you were a tight end, you probably ended up in the end zone. So that's one of the good things that came out of this. Welcome to the channel. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. The Tigers, well, hey, they just keep on winning. They're 6-1. They're 5-0 in the conference. They have a bye week coming up. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe. If you've been watching for a while, you're like, it's kind of occurred to me. I haven't subscribed yet. Subscribe, if you will, if you like what I'm doing. It is free. I talked about this at halftime. Clemson was up 17-10, and I said all you need to do is pull it together. And in the third quarter, they did. In the third quarter, Clemson scored 21 points. They were off to the races, and Virginia was left behind in the dust. And then the fourth quarter happened. Virginia puts up 21 points in the fourth quarter. We saw more broken coverage. We saw a DB just absolutely get smoked. Clemson did put up 10 points in the fourth quarter. Cade Klubnik, 23 of 35, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Phil Moffitt, 18 carries, 78 yards. TJ Moore, the young man, 4 receptions, 78 yards, and 1 touchdown. I was very glad to see him get that touchdown at the end for a couple of reasons. Clemson needed to make it look bad. Still allowed 31 points to Virginia. Anthony Calandria, 15 to 26, 159 yards. Kobe Pace, former Clemson running back, 10 carries, 35 yards. And Fields, he had 3 receptions for 65 yards and 1 touchdown. Let's go to some of the team stats. Clemson had 28 first downs to Virginia's 20. Clemson had 539 yards total. 345 was in the air, 194 was on the ground. Clemson allowed 346 total yards to Virginia, 278 in the air, 68 on the ground. So that defense was stingy across the front 7, as we always see, and it's the secondary that's giving up yardage. Both teams had 1 turnover. Clemson had the early interception, but of course, Virginia fumbled the ball in the second half, so Clemson got the ball, capitalized on it. In the first half, Virginia actually had the ball longer than Clemson, but when the dust settled, Clemson had the ball 34 minutes to Virginia's 26. So Clemson had the ball longer. Let's talk about some of the play calls that we saw. I want to tell you this. I really love the play call. It's 4th down and 1. Clemson lines up to go for it. They're on their side of the field. Instead of handing off the ball, they get the ball to Pat Henry. He had a 40-yard touchdown. That was really, really good. And then later on, the young man catches another pass for a touchdown. So it's really good to see Clemson get the football to the tight ends, because there's a reason in the NFL that if you have really good tight ends, you probably have a really good team. And we see that consistently with incredible teams that make it to the playoffs year after year, that makes it to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl. So Clemson has really good tight ends playing on this team, and it's really good to see them use them. Now, let's talk about the dark spots in the Clemson football team. The secondary. I don't know what Clemson was doing in the fourth quarter, giving up 21 points. I don't care that they put in the cheerleaders to play at that one moment. Clemson was getting scorched in the secondary beforehand. There was miscommunications. You could see guys looking at one another going, "Hi, who had him?" Yeah, you're supposed to figure that out by game 7. So this is like the 4th week in a row, 3rd week in a row. It's 4th week in a row that I'll be conservative and say 3rd week in a row that we have seen the secondary struggle. And, for some of y'all who wet your drawers and you get all mad at me for for bringing up the Georgia game, and you're like, we're past that. Well, the secondary says we're not. The secondary, namely our corners, says we still got big problems, that if we played a big boy team that didn't suck, we'd get our head beat in, and it would get exploited. So you can lie to yourself all you want to just to make yourself feel good. Some people choose drugs to feel better. Some people drinks too much to feel better. Some goes to their doctor to get something to make them feel better. And then some people, they take the drug that is quite legal, but it's quite bad for you. They lie to themselves and call it hope. Strategy fixes your secondary, not you straining hard until you pop an emotional hemorrhoid and have blood in your drawers because you're straining hard to believe away what is not being trained away. This secondary has to get their crap together. And so, I mean, we're at game 7, folks. I don't know what y'all are expecting, namely the DBs, but there was miscommunications with the safeties. So I don't care if they were second-string safeties. I don't care if they're fourth-string safeties. If they're going to be on the field, they have to know what they're doing. And right now, when people looks at Virginia putting up 31 points on Clemson, people are going to stop and go, what? And if you don't like my negativity, go find another media outlet that tells you everything's okay until everything's not okay, and then you're going, oh, I think they lied to me. Yeah, Goofy, they did. And you let them. Wake Forest only allowed 30 points. They allowed 31 points to Virginia. Coastal Carolina allowed 43. They allowed 43 points. And you're like, why are you bringing this up? Clemson's defense is better than Coastal Carolina. Clemson's defense is better than Wake Forest. I mean, what are we doing, y'all? This is not good. Clemson's defense has to pull this crap together. The offense got it to going. I mean, can you imagine had Clemson only allowed, say, one more touchdown? For all the math buffs out there, you want to know what the score would have been? 48-17. Could you have lived with that? Sure. And so, for all the people out there, I don't even have the comment section on to where I can see it. It's on. You can see it. Hope you'll hit the thumbs up, likes, whatever. But for all of you who are just staring at this going, look, well, at least we won. Yes, I am glad we won, but I'm at the mindset looking at long term. I'm looking at long term when if you do make it to play Miami, Cam Ward will pick this secondary apart. And you can wish that away all you want to, but I'm just going to tell you, if you think you can do that, you need to seek professional counseling. You really do. Because this is something that can be trained away. I'm going to get in here to the comment section and say hello to some people. I got Jay in here, still more worried about the defense. Amen. Rob Allen, I was surprised that by that last Tiger touchdown, the play. I like the touchdown that Clemson scored, but the last 2 touchdowns Clemson gave up was pure garbage. Defense second team needs NIL checks on hold for a week. Yeah, tell me about it. How can the defense second team be so bad? Heck of a question, my friend. Heck of a question. And if somebody gets tired on the first team, that's who's coming in to relieve them. So that's why when I talk about Clemson and I make them sound like, oh, man, Brian, nobody can make Brian happy. No, literally, that is what I'm talking about. Can you imagine Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Bama? We already saw what Georgia did. Bama, Ohio State. And if you go, well, that's if Clemson makes it to the playoffs, that's who they'll be playing. Get this crap straight in game 7. And if you're not getting it done in game 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, what meth are you smoking to think that they would get it fixed by the playoff? I hate garbage time touchdowns. Smash that like button. 34 in here, 6 likes. Let's get it. Come on. Venables didn't help Carter on the touchdown. Yeah, you're right. Venables was sucked in. Venables was sucked in, and I want to say someone else was sucked in there too. And who got burned on that last touchdown? I couldn't see it. I was trying to watch it. Who was that? Would somebody throw that in there? Because I ran it back, and it was just so spread out, I couldn't tell who it was. We're a good team, but not great team. We miss killer instinct. You got it. The fight was the best part of the game. Yes, I agree with you. Spot on with the defense being an issue all year, which is not normal for us. I don't think Dabo liked that at the end. The scores at the end by Virginia don't look good on our resume. They did the same thing with NC State. Yeah, you're 100% right. Well, at least we won, says the person who will be shocked if we get TCU'd. Barnes is not playing as well as he did last year. More pressure on the quarterback would help the secondary. Yeah, they have to keep the pressure on the quarterback, but our secondary has to pull it together. Barnes is having that post incredible freshman year hangover that we've seen a lot of players have. You remember Justin Miller's freshman year? He was unbelievable. And I think the very next year, Georgia smoked him. First play, Fred Gibson. Aaron Green to Fred Gibson. I had heard from people that Justin Miller had been talking about going to the NFL. Fred Gibson reminded him that he was not ready at that moment. No offense, Justin. You could care less what I think anyway. Ken, Tiger Raven defense is hard to watch. Yep. Miami's defense is is garbage. Ours is bad, but theirs is atrocious. There's a lot of questions with Miami still. We play like this against a team like SMU, they will beat us. Please don't throw into quadruple coverage. Yeah, David Wood. It's great. G. Holland, it's okay to call people out, but at least call out the right people. Carter gave up 2 touchdowns, one on the first half and the long one to start the fourth quarter. I'm with you on being worried about the D. Yeah. Yep. We can't get our sack or quarterback curry, we're in trouble. Yeah, he nailed it. Yep. It's true. It is true. Optics on the scoreboard, not good, but it's garbage time, so win is a win. I take that, Wendell. I agree with you. I agree with you, Wendell. I do. But I am just afraid if you will play what you continuously play and practice. I'm a musician. Some people don't know this. A lot of people do. In fact, I was playing at a church this past Sunday, and somebody came up to me out of nowhere and said, "Hey, Stuart, if you're here, I hope you'll say hello." Stuart walked up to me and he was like, "Hey man, you have that channel, don't you?" And I was like, yeah, that's my channel. And I was shocked. Anyway, even though my channel's growing, a lot of people watches me, I'm still shocked when people says hello to me, and I love it. I admit, I love it. I love meeting y'all. But I'm a musician. I've played with some unbelievable musicians. I've played with some really incredible musicians. I'm gonna leave it at that. I played on some cool records. But I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you from a musical standpoint where you have to practice. That's where I'm going here. What you practice by yourself will come out on stage. And also, who are you playing with? If you go out there and you start playing a few gigs with people who are, they're not bad musicians, but they're not as dedicated as they should be, and they kind of get slouchy. Let me tell you, when you go and you start playing with musicians who know their crap and know their stuff, all of a sudden you realize you started picking up bad habits. Moral of the story, you will perform based on how you practice, how you train, and who you've been playing with. And if Clemson cannot pitch the shutout, but they expect to all of a sudden magically do it when they're playing against good football teams, I'm telling you, folks, history says that's probably not going to play out well for you. But I agree with you, Wendell. I agree with you. A win is a win, but Clemson's got to tighten up because this is Game 7. Louisville quarterback would have a day with Clemson defense out there. Terrell could play in the NFL. Hopefully we tighten up the D. Vatek, Louisville. Oh, yeah. All we have to do is find some life to push, have a spy, or at least keep our rush lanes to keep the quarterback in the pocket. I'm late to the video, going to rewind. Injury, being tired. Brendan Strozier was burned on that final touchdown. I thought it was, but I didn't want to call him out without saying who it was. Sammy did look good. And Coach V right now is getting tanked by the South Carolina Gamecocks. If he keeps doing this, and I know people who actually know Coach Venables, they have wonderful things to say about him. I hold him in high regard, but he keeps doing this out there at at Oklahoma, they'll fire him. And I think, especially with this game, the seat's going to be very, very hot in Norman. All right, let's just talk about the closing thoughts here real quick. Clemson has the week off. This is a great time for them to look back over the season, even though they're past the halfway mark by one game. This is a good time for them to stop and look at the season and say, what do we need to do better? What do we need to continue to build on? And what are just some areas that it seems like we are not getting better at? And why? Who holds the responsibility for us not getting better in this area? Is this poor scheming? Is this poor development? Is this poor implementation by the players? The players, I take up for the players more than I take up for the coaches. Why? Because the coaches are the ones who's making the decisions. And I always bring it back to go to your job. If you have a job and you're not the man or woman in charge, you're probably implementing someone else's idea. And I don't know how many times I've implemented someone else's idea and then had to live with the results of their bad decision. Sorry, I mean, that's just life. So that's why I'm always careful to look at players and say, hey, it's on you. At the same time, there's sometimes, like we've seen in today's game, where you're sitting there going, bro, you got toasted. I mean, what were you doing? And so that's what we need to do. So anyway, we need to be very, very reflective in this past week, heal our wounds, and address those issues. So Clemson will be off. They'll come back. 2 weeks from today will be November the 2nd. So 2 weeks from today will be November the 2nd. And they play Louisville. So right now as we're speaking, Louisville just scored a touchdown. And it's 52-44. I think they're kicking a field goal. I don't know. But there's less than a minute left. They'll probably go for an onside kick against Miami. So they've played Miami very, very well. They have played Miami very, very well. So they will come to Clemson. Then we have to go to Virginia Tech. We're at Pittsburgh. We have the Citadel, and then the very last game on November the 30th against South Carolina. And here's what I want to say about South Carolina. I'm far from a Chickens fan, but I'm also realistic. South Carolina is not a bad football team. In fact, if you talk to any of their fan base who truly know their stuff, and they're like, okay, I'll stop trash talking for a second, but I'm just going to be legitimate here. We didn't expect them to play this well. I mean, right now they're handing it to Oklahoma. And they almost beat LSU. They've done some really good things here and there. So my point is they almost beat Alabama last week. These almost will turn into wins. And Clemson can't go in and fart around against South Carolina this year because South Carolina will beat them if they do. South Carolina's only a few points away from having a few more wins on the board. So we need to show respect, even though we love to make fun of them. So to recap that, we're off next week. Then we play Louisville coming to Death Valley. We're at VT, a very dangerous game. VT's a much better team than their record says. 4-3, 2-1 overall. I mean, they just torched BC. They're gaining steam, folks. They beat Stanford 31-7. When they lost to Miami, they lost by 4 points. They lost to Rutgers by 3 points. This is not a bad football team. If things turn just a little different, at this point, and I'm going back, let me look at their very first. Yeah, their very first loss was to Vanderbilt, and now Vanderbilt doesn't look that bad. My point in saying all of that is Clemson going to Blacksburg, this is going to be a test for them. And I think that Brent Key, that's Georgia Tech's coach, sorry. I believe that, and I can't remember Virginia Tech's head coach right now for the life of me, but he's got the guys playing. He really, really does have them playing. And, at the end of the day, it's Brent Pry. That's it. They're going to give us a good game. So we have to be on our toes for that one. We can't go in there and fart around with them or they'll beat us. Plain and simple. So, hey, Clemson 6-1. They're 6-1, 5-0 in the conference. They get the week off. According to what happens in the top 10, they may move up a spot or just hold at number 10. But congrats to the Tigers on the win. We just got to tie up those loose ends. Let me get to the last second. I'm going to go through the comment section. Let's see. Yeah, they're legit. I appreciate Coach Fimel's time at Clemson. Hopefully he turns it around, but getting boat raced by the chickens is going to get him fired. Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah. Am I going to celebrate Festivus this year for the rest of us? Because there has to be a better way. I have to play the clip, y'all. Even though I'm not going on a rant, I have to play the clip. Frank Costanza is one of my favorites ever.
With the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah. That voice. Wow. Yeah. Dale says, hey, he lives in the area. The OU fan base is already calling for his job. Yep. That's right. All right, folks, you take care of yourself. I will be seeing you sometime. Might even do another video later on today. There's a lot of big games going on. We have Texas. We have Texas and Georgia. We have Alabama and Tennessee. Georgia Tech might give Notre Dame a game. Only thing is Haynes King is out for GT. So, but anyway, there's some good games today, and it's really, really opening up the eyes of college football. The fans, the talking heads, the people like myself, who has a channel. Here's the deal, and I'll leave you with this: you can't hide from the big games. Once you get to those big games, you can't hide. All of the things that's been said about you in preseason, been hyped up and all this bunch of stuff, just listen to me, folks. These are the games that proves who's who and who was a bunch of hype. So it's good to see y'all. Wendell, it's good to see you. Rob, it's good to see you. John, it's good to see y'all. I love you. Y'all take care of yourself, and as always, go Tigers.